There we go. Okay. Roll it. Welcome back to the Jay Bravado Show. This is Scott Jennings. He's talking about what happened and what will happen if this happens. But I'm not going to ruin it for you. I can't ruin this for you. Roll it.
Virginia last night, the voters narrowly approved a new congressional map for the state. It was 6-5, Democrat to Republican. Pretty fair map, pretty balanced. And now it will be 10-1. The Washington Post editorial board called it this, quote, Virginia plunges America deeper into the gerrymandering abyss. But the legal battle is not over. Here to discuss, former Virginia Attorney General Ken Cuccinelli. Ken, thanks for coming on to the show. Now that the referendum is over, I guess you're headed to you've already argued this in front of the Virginia Supreme Court. They've not issued a final ruling. What can we expect here over the next few days or weeks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Scott, this is going to move very fast in Virginia's courts. The precedent here is that the Supreme Court wouldn't touch a case until after the referendum. They consider that part of the legislative process, just like the governor signing or vetoing a bill. So there's no reason to have a lawsuit, or at least to hear and decide it until after that's done. Well, now the yes folks with 4-1 spending have won by about 2 or 3 points, and it is time to get on with the lawsuits. And the yes folks probably are going to look back at Tuesday and think that was the easy part, because they have so badly violated several constitutional provisions. Mind you, we're talking about the state constitution of Virginia, not the federal constitution, that they're going to have a hard time keeping this from being voided by the Virginia Supreme Court. So that's what's next. Briefs are due tomorrow at the Virginia Supreme Court. They're going to have oral argument on Monday. There's another case coming up out of a circuit court in Southwest Virginia that's being heard today, and I imagine will be consolidated or play catch-up with the case right now in front of the Virginia Supreme Court. So this is going to go very fast. I think we're going to have a final ruling in May, best guess. And I'm not a betting man, but if I were, I'd be betting on no in the courts, even though they lost by a couple of points yesterday at the ballot box.
You said that the yes campaign here has violated several provisions of the Virginia state constitution. What is the conservatives' best argument here on why this needs to be thrown out, in your opinion?
Sure. So like a lot of states, Virginia has a process to amend its constitution that has the General Assembly pass a proposed amendment and then have a state election, an intervening election, where the new House of Delegates is elected and so forth. And then that new General Assembly comes back and has to pass the exact same amendment. So in Virginia, like Kentucky, we have odd-year elections, and people were watching last year. Abigail Spanberger got elected. The General Assembly passed the amendment for the first time, called First Passage, very creative, on Halloween. Well, these same Democrats 5 years ago gave us a 45-day election. So voting began September 19th of 2025. Over 1 million people had already voted before First Passage, and they want to treat that election as the intervening election. They're going to have a very difficult time with that, and equally difficult is after Second Passage, there needs to be a 90-day gap before the amendment is submitted to the voters. That's the language used. Well, because of that 45-day early voting, open voting, no excuse, it's just open polls, that was less than 50 days after Second Passage. So somehow they're going to have to explain away those differences from the Constitution. There are other constitutional challenges. Those two are the most obvious and difficult for them to overcome. And they knew it going in. This isn't subtle or, this isn't fine print in Virginia constitutional law.
Why would it make sense? Before we get to the end of this video, why would it make sense for you to make a map 10-1? Ladies and gentlemen, please put a comment down in the comment section on how you feel about what are your thoughts? How do you feel about just the simple fact of the whole entire scenario, redistricting and all of that, and all of the fantastic reaches that the world will go in to just stop the fairness? The direction that we're going into is definitely getting out of hand. I have to agree with Scott Jennings when it comes down to people having the freedom to do, what they want. But when it comes down to making things completely and utterly unfair, then I have to say no to that. Once again, this has been the Jay Rovato Show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share so we can keep bringing you the information that you need to know. And until next time,